All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for Skidmore's Is Early Decision Right for You? I am Sarah Ireland, Associate Director of Admissions here at Skidmore, and I am wonderfully joined by three of our current students who are taking time out of their busy schedule tonight of events and classes and all kinds of stuff going on to join us for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Thanks for joining us. By the list of people that signed up for tonight, we are really excited about how many of you are interested in applying to Skidmore and learning more about early decision. And is it right for you? And we hope at the end of this webinar that you will say, yes, this is definitely something that I would like to do. So kind of the little bit of housekeeping, the way this is going to go is we're going to spend the next about 10 minutes doing a few introductions. Our students will introduce themselves. They'll tell you a little bit about their experience, and all three of them chose early decision as their option to apply when they were applying. Then we will go into a few brief slides just to show you a little bit of what Skidmore's got to offer. Nothing in too much detail because we know that you are probably well versed already in Skidmore and have gone through our websites. And then we're going to open it up to questions, and we would like you to ask those questions through the Q&A, and you can type those right out. We will answer them verbally. We will also answer a lot of them through the Q&A, and we'll go from there. So thanks very much for being here, and we really appreciate it. So what we'll do is we'll start with Milo. So we have Milo, Anna, and Faith joining us tonight, and we will have Milo introduce himself, tell you a little bit about himself, his majors, etc. Then we'll go with Anna and Faith, and then we'll launch into a couple of slides. Take it away, Milo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Milo Flammenbaum. I'm from Westchester, New York. I'm a junior. I'm a physics major, business minor. Outside of working in admissions, I'm involved in our student government. I'm the vice president of student life. And we also have a lot of clubs. I'm involved in the physics club and also the DJ club, and recently was the co-president of our Hillel on campus as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna Matthews. I'm a senior from the DC area. I'm an education and religious studies double major with a studio art minor. I'm currently doing student teaching, which means I'm in a local elementary school 5 days a week. Outside of working for admissions, I am also a research assistant in the education department. I'm a peer academic coach for the religious studies department, and I am a community assistant for Res Life.
My name's Faith. I'm from Guilford, Connecticut. It's near New Haven, if you know that better than Guilford. I am a dance and economics double major with an honors for a minor. Side of working in admissions, I also work in the dance costume shop. I've been an economics assistant for Professor Sanchit. I'm also the current chair of traditions at Skidmore, which is a new SGA position. What else? I used to be the treasurer for our community service club. I've been that for 3 years and thought it was time to pass it over to someone a little younger. And yeah, that's all I can think of for now. I've done my own research at Skidmore as well, independent from professors.
Great, thanks very much. So I'd like you guys just to talk a little bit about why you chose early decision at Skidmore. And now that you've been here a couple of years or a few years, maybe a little bit about why you've stayed at Skidmore. Because most of the people that are tuning in tonight, some have already applied and are anxiously going to be awaiting those decisions. Others are trying to figure out if early decision or regular decision is right for them. So we'll go in that same order of Milo, Anna, and Faith, if you would. Take it away, Milo.
Yeah. I'm very happy that I chose Skidmore. I'm so happy I love talking about it this much. The big thing that I was looking for was a small school, sort of locally, no more than 5 hours away, driving distance from me. So that definitely helped create my list. And Skidmore was one of the schools on the list. as a, you'll go on trips and sort of check out all these colleges. Skidmore sort of initially didn't fully catch my eye, but after I was looking at other colleges, the campus vibe, I was specifically looking at communities, the local town, and offerings at campuses. Skidmore all of a sudden turned into sort of this gem out of the other schools I was looking at. I wanted a community that was welcoming, a community that was supportive and very friendly, and I just felt that at Skidmore. You'll see people always holding the door for you and just looking happy. With academics, I knew I wanted to go into STEM, but also maybe some of the humanities like the business minor. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But Skidmore definitely seemed like no matter what choice I would make, I would be supported in that process. And throughout the process, the outcome I would be very happy with. And the last thing I started to more realize was location. Hopefully, you all will get to visit Skidmore in person, or if you haven't already done so, Saratoga Springs, New York is a really cool place in New York. Amazing restaurants, amazing things to do, very vibrant community, and sort of all those things lined up to encourage me and make me really apply ED1, seeing myself here at Skidmore, and not really anywhere else. And I feel like I've made the right decision.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of overlap with Milo. As I was looking at colleges, I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. Both my parents are teachers. And I like to joke that it's in my blood. But I knew that I wanted to go to a school that both had a strong education program, but also had a strong arts program. I briefly considered going to an art school because I want to be an art teacher eventually, but I realized that teaching was more important to me than art. So I wanted to find a place that could balance art and education. Skidmore has a really strong education program. I've had the opportunity to do student teaching in my undergraduate, which is very uncommon. And I'll be certified to teach in the state of New York by the time I graduate, which is extremely exciting. Um, with that, I've also been able to do a lot of art. I made this right here in my one of my college classes. Forgot that was behind me. But I think I've gotten this very high level arts education. We are accredited the same as RISD or SCAD, other art schools, both in our education, in our studio arts, but also dance, for faith. But I think it's been so nice to have this balance. And that was what I was looking for when I applied to early decision and why I chose. And I've definitely continued that, have that throughout my time here.
A little similar, I guess. I also knew what I wanted to do when I came to Skidmore. I knew I wanted to still continue dance, at least in a major or minor, which automatically limits colleges down. Not all colleges have a program, and not many colleges have a program as great as Skidmore's. I could go on and on about the dance department, which we'll give our emails out and you can email me about any questions. And I also at the time thought I wanted to do business. And so that really limited things down, college-wise for me. I also wanted to go north for more snow. I'm from Connecticut and I missed the snowy winters growing up. And then, so I knew like there aren't many schools out there. Skidmore was one of the best in my small criteria and thought like this is the best way to show that I am interested and like this is the best foot to get me in. So it didn't compare it didn't compare to the other colleges I was interested in, were like what resonated with me. And why I've stayed here, something I didn't really know when I was looking, because of COVID, we didn't get to be on campus as much as you guys hopefully get to be, was all of the independent opportunities here and leadership opportunities. They don't hold you back here and wait for you to be an upperclassman. You can start research as early as your second semester on campus. I became treasurer, which is an e-board position, my first semester on campus. They don't hold you back, but also some people aren't interested in that and they do want to wait. And that's something I've really appreciated, all the opportunities that they allow students to take and not take. There's a lot of people who are double majors or a major with a minor, and no one seems to judge. I mean, I actually haven't met anyone who's just a major. but I've never seen, I don't think anyone would be judged for that. It's a very kind place. People ask me on tours, like, what's a unifying feature of Skidmore? And everyone's so different. I think that's what such a great thing, but everyone's really kind. And so that's one of the many reasons why I've stayed.
Sounds great. Thanks you guys for sharing your story about why early decision and why Skidmore. We're going to roll into a couple of slides here just to kind of give our viewers a little brief idea of. Okay, I'm a little clumsy with the share thing, so hang in there with me. All right, can you guys see that? Okay.
It's not full screen, but we can see your screen.
All right. Well, there we go. Well, we're gonna go with the screen that we've got at this point. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you. Okay, just a little bit about, I mean, look at the area. Good night. It is just beautiful up here. So that's our campus. And it is a residential campus in beautiful Saratoga Springs and overlooking the mountains there. So welcome to the area. Just a little bit, CTM is very big for us. Creative thought, like you folks both talked about, is being able to do the creative arts is a very important part of your world at Skidmore. Studying about different things that speak to you. Community is very large here, very big on how you're getting involved. And you probably got that from some of those messages, but the 2,700 students from many, many different states and countries as well. Just a little bit about where we are. A lot of you probably know this, but Saratoga Springs is about 3 hours north of New York City and about 3 hours west of Boston. The closest big city is the state capital of Albany, New York. So if you're thinking about how you get to campus, flying in is quite easy to Albany. Taking the Amtrak up from the city is quite easy, as well as the Greyhound bus. So we're really at a great crossroads in the state of New York, and very close to Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, but not too close. Over 40 majors, minors. Over 2/3 of our students will double major or major and minor. Nice small classes of those average class sizes of 16 or so. The first year experience is a great way to kind of bridge the high school life to college life. I would encourage you to Google FYE, first year experience. Not only does it have the summer advising, but a great pre-orientation component to it. And I'll have these guys speak in just a minute about their first year experience. The seminars that you take is one of the classes that you'll take for your first semester. There is an upperclassman that is a peer mentor that's matched with each one of those first year seminars, as well as the professor who teaches that class to you is your advisor. Study abroad. Wow, so much to talk about with this, but we can go into that as questions arise, but many different ways to study abroad. Whether it's your junior year or for a first semester of your first year. The London program is for 36 students who choose to go to London for that first semester with 2 professors. You just check a box on the Common App if you're interested in it, but you don't have to decide until it's time to enroll. And we usually enroll about 2/3 of those students through ED that want to go to London. So it varies from year to year. And there's great 2-week travel seminars as well. Research. Well, everybody talked about research starting early on, and I'm sure you guys can speak a little bit about research, but research and internships are a very large part of your world here at Skidmore. Research starts that second semester of your first year, and you're not in line behind any postgraduates. You are first in line. Life outside the classroom, very busy, over 100 clubs. Student life on campus is so much fun. I'll have these guys talk about it since they're living it. One of my favorite traditions, Skidmania. Google it. Skidmania is one of the most fun traditions we have. It started out as a small seminar about 20 plus years ago, and it's just expanded into almost a 3-day concert that students put on that celebrate a different year of music. This year, it's going to be 1974. Can't wait. And it's usually the weekend just before Thanksgiving. You guys will be able to view it on the, you know, the big old wild web if you want, once it hits the web. So it's fun. Division III sports, our athletes, a lot of them are applying early decision. We find that a lot of coaches really like early decision for our D3 athletes. 19 different varsity sports. High five in here tennis, because not only are we nationally ranked, but we also have a beautiful health and wellness center, as well as indoor and outdoor tennis courts that are up and absolutely gorgeous and open to everyone. Some people pick Skidmore because of the food, top-notch food, right? So we've got one beautiful dining hall, giant food court. I love the fact that we just started in -9, which is the 9 big allergens. It's a whole section that is minus all 9 of those allergens. So we have a fabulous dining facilities that's very conscious of different dietary needs. And living on campus. These guys can talk a little bit about living on campus, but you're guaranteed housing all 4 years. Living in the residence halls for the first 2 years, and then these beautiful apartments there on your right. Financial aid is a big part of your decision. We meet 100% of the demonstrated need for each student that we admit. You require the CSS profile, and that deadline is also November 1st. The CSS profile and the FAFSA, but we definitely require the CSS profile. So without the CSS profile, your application is incomplete. So please make sure, if you and your family are applying for financial aid, that you fill out the CSS profile and the FAFSA. Net price calculators are on our website. If you have questions of what would my financial aid package look like, the net price calculator is right on our website for financial aid. Please, please, please fill that out. It will give you and your family a great view of what the financial aid package would be. If you have any questions from there, you can always contact the financial aid department, and they will answer all of those questions for you. And then how to apply. Early decision round 1 is November 1st. Early decision round 2 is January 8th. And then regular decision is also January 8th. So usually between ED1 and ED2, we usually fill about half of our class. So about 350 students enrolled through early decision last year for our class size of about 710. All right, and we are hoping that some of you think early decision is right for you. So we are going to now open it up to questions. We've got a couple that are already started in the Q&A. We will talk through some of them, and then also our fabulous students will answer them as they come up as well. I will have, so let's move into study abroad just a minute, and Anna can do that a little bit. The study abroad piece is open to anyone. Has anybody else studied abroad, the 3 of you? Yep.
I'm in the process.
You are. Okay. Would you talk a little bit about the process and how Skidmore is helping you with that travel piece? And then Faith, you did study abroad. Yep. So maybe talk briefly about how Skidmore was great for you in that regard.
So we have 3 Skidmore programs through Spain, New Zealand, and France, and then over 100 pre-approved programs. And usually if you find a program that you want to try to get approved, the college will work with you to get them. But we have a study abroad office, which out of that office, they're putting on so many events throughout the semester, especially right now. They did an event last year, it was sort of like speed dating in some sense, where like you would have to go around and speak to different students and ask them questions about their study abroad experience, the country went to, different program types. They're really trying to make sure you know your options and you can choose the option that best fits you. And also just setting up a meeting with them one-on-one to ask their thoughts on different applications, different processes, things like that. Once you do start the application, they're really there to assist in any forms or questions you have sort of as you go through Skidmore's process to study abroad, but also if you're doing it with an outside partner company, their process as well. And right now I'm almost finished with my visa application to go to Milan for a business program in the spring, which I'm really looking forward to.
So I went to one of those Skidmore programs. I went to Skidmore in France, which is in Montpellier. There is also a Paris program. I was interested in going to Cambodia actually, and there's no Cambodia program. I did look into it, but decided I took French in high school and I loved it. I've actually been having recurring dreams and I'm back there and I'm very sad that I'm not. I'm looking into maybe moving back after college. Great experience. I would definitely recommend doing some sort of study abroad if you could. There's money, there's lots of summer grants for students. Yeah, we're gonna run this even though she just popped out. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities for summer grant money to do an internship abroad. There's also semester-long study abroad. There's year-long programs. That's a little less common. And then there's also 2-week programs that are typically connected to a class. My roommate last year just graduated, but she went to Africa for 2 weeks right after graduation, and she loved it. I went for business, so technically it was unrelated. I did get to transfer one of those business classes into econ, but I took dance classes in France. Such a great experience. Is anyone from France in the webinar? And I did want to just mention Anna's going to go more into like studying abroad as an education major. One of my roommates this year is an education major, and she did the same exact program as me, just a semester before me. So we just passed each other.
Yeah, it is completely possible to be an education major and go abroad. I personally haven't, but that is not because of the education major. It's more I honestly love tour guiding and I couldn't and I have too many other jobs to take away. That being said, as an education major, it is vital that you declare your freshman year, just if you want to study abroad, because there's certain classes you have to take in the fall and there's certain classes you have to take in the spring. The other option is studying abroad in sophomore year, which is possible. It just isn't as common as junior year. So it's definitely possible. It just requires some planning. I know a couple Faith's roommate did, who's in my cohort and doing student teaching with me now, and another student who also planned ahead, and he had a lovely semester in London, and is doing student teaching now. So it's definitely possible. It just requires some planning.
Too about Division 3 athletes, and Milo is going to do an in-depth answer here, but briefly, yes, you just need to make sure that you're communicating with coaches accordingly. You don't really want to travel during the major season. So if you're a recruited athlete, absolutely you can. You just need to be in good communication and well planned with your coach. So that you can travel. Our coaches understand that you are a student athlete, that you are somebody that is here to study, but also broadening your collegiate experience with athletics. So yes, absolutely. I know one of our basketball players had a great time in Spain, but didn't go during that winter season, of course. What does the admission team look for in an applicant at Skidmore? I will go ahead and answer that one verbally because I think it's probably beneficial for the whole crew here. So it's one of my favorite parts of the job is not only talking to you about Skidmore, but also reading your applications. And the team of 20 of us read the applications, and we read in teams. And we are very much interested in finding students who are great in community. Yes, of course, the academics matter, and the choices that you've made throughout your high school career matter, so that your preparedness and your foundations are solid. But who you are as a community member matters a lot to us. So what you're doing outside the classroom is something that we look at. You guys are looking at 3 great human beings that did some things in high school, but also doing more in college and kind of spreading their wings a little bit and trying some new things. So we look at not only your preparedness academically, but who you are. Would you be a good roommate? Would you be somebody that would be a nice leader on campus or a great support role? Are you somebody on the field, the court, the rink, the pool, whatever it may be, that is not only going to be strong for the athletic program, but also somebody who's going to support your players and support your team, and be involved in community. Saratoga Springs, as all three of you have talked about, is a big player in our life here. Skidmore is only a 15-minute walk right into town. Saratogians absolutely love Skidmore kids. And being able to be part of both communities is something that's a real plus for us. As you're looking at a lot of small liberal arts colleges, not a lot of people have a great place like Saratoga Springs. And I've lived in Saratoga now 20 years, and I have yet to find a Saratogian that doesn't really admire all that the students are doing on campus, not only on campus, but also in town, at the restaurants, in the hospitals, in research and internships downtown. So that respect level that you have for community is something that is big for us. We've been test optional for a long time. We do require testing if you are homeschooled or if you do not go to an English-speaking school. So those requirements are different for international students, and you can find that information right on our website. But that should give you a little bit of an idea of the building of the culture of our campus. All right. You guys are typing away. Is there anything that you would like to answer out loud that might benefit the whole group?
I saw one, I think it was about what is an assumption or distinct Skidmore. I may have offered to, I think I clicked, I would have apply or reply live. Let me try to find, what incorrect assumptions do people make about Skidmore College? One that I sometimes get asked on my tours is the school overly artsy, or is arts sort of a big aspect of Skidmore? And something that I say to that is yes and no. Here, it's pretty split up between our arts, humanities, and sciences. I would say pretty evenly, a third, a third, a third, especially when you look at our majors, with business as one of our largest majors, studio arts, English, and psychology up there as well. So really split across these disciplines. And all of these disciplines as well are very strong. We have a brand new Center for Integrated Science building that was completed just around a year ago. So our sciences are really strong. Our amazing arts quad with the Zenkel Music Center that hopefully you'll get to see when you visit. And then also our business program, which is really unique to Skidmore. All different strong areas. And what I say to people, if they ask me about the sort of arts at Skidmore, is if you want to get involved in the arts, you can really get involved in the arts by taking classes, joining clubs. If you just want to join a club, you can. Or if you just want to be a spectator like me and go to amazing events like Skidmania, our plays, our performances, you can do that, or you can do none of the above, and just focus on sciences, going to our idea lab and making things and doing all these other things. A really sort of diverse academically college with all these opportunities and offerings for students that will fit their pace usually.
Great answer. This is an interesting one. Thanks for asking it, Jay. You guys applied early decision. Did you find that as an early decision applicant and enrolled student, did you find yourself separated from the regular decision enrolled students? Did you feel that there was anything different about the ED kids?
I would say no. And most people have to, as a senior, most people have to think like, oh, did I apply early decision? Did I apply regular? Most people don't even think about it. Maybe at the very beginning, it was something that you didn't really like, you thought it might be awkward, so you didn't bring it up. I think it's just one of those things like, oh, you applied ED? That's cool. I did regular. It's one of those things you don't really talk about that much, at least in my experience.
I think for me, the place that I've only ever talked about it is like thinking to myself, like, do I ever wish I had choice rather than that early decision and choosing to go here in that first application rather than after applying having choice. And I really don't. It was such a wonderful experience when I got in. I actually had a migraine the night that I got in, so I didn't even see it till the morning. And I had such a wonderful day at school that day. It was COVID times, and I got in trouble because all my friends wanted to hug me. Um, but I think the most I think about early decision is personally and being really happy I made that choice rather than with other students at Skidmore.
Um, I am very happy I did ED1. I do have friends that did regular decision at Skidmore that went through a pretty long process of looking at their colleges and are very happy and wish they summed it up in ED here as well. But also have friends that attended other colleges too and saw them go through a process of sort of not finding a school that they initially sort of connected with at first, something that I sort of had with Skidmore, where I saw it, I visited once, and then I started looking into it more, spoke with some students and things like that, and had this sort of click of like, okay, I want to come to Skidmore, which hopefully some of you have, or most of you have as well. And getting an ED1 was a very exciting day as well, like Anna was saying. And to this day, I'm very happy that I've done it. And looking back on other choices I could have made, I'm happy that I've made this choice.
There's a great question here about demonstrated interest. Does it have an impact on acceptance? Yes, it does. By tuning in to this, by coming to campus, if you can't come to campus, but you have found that this is the place you want to be, we are able to see that you've tuned in with us virtually for some of our Tuesday night group information sessions or our Thursday night Ask Me Anythings. We call them AMAs. You can find those right on our website under events where you can tune in and listen to students talk about their experience. So yes, we call it engagement, but we also believe that it is also helping you become an informed consumer. So you're doing your research by demonstrated interest as well. But the highest way that you can show demonstrated interest is by applying early decision. That message is to us as an admissions staff that this is your top choice. So great question.
Someone asked about the female to male ratio on campus. So we do have more female students than male students on campus. Some of that I think still gets credited to the fact that we used to be an all women's college. I mean, that wasn't like 10 years ago, that was in the like 70s. I think it's close to like 60% females, 60% males, but something at Skidmore that we do recognize is that these surveys, I guess, don't account for non-binary students or students that are gender fluid. I think last I saw that percentage that we knew of was like 5% of people identify as non-binary or gender fluid. And as a student, it's been really interesting because dance, there's a lot of female students. There's only one there's two male identifying students in my class year, but in economics, it's majority men. So I get to kind of see both sides. I've never had a problem with either. It's something I've never thought about. I've thought about it a little bit in economics because I have to think about it going forward in careers and thinking about, yeah, it is interesting. A lot of my professors are women, but a lot of my cohort peers are men. So I think about it like that. It's never really bothered me because I get both sides, and I feel like a lot of students get both sides, classes that are really diversely balanced. I don't know if Mila wants to say something about that.
I think your statistics are pretty correct. I will say it changes year to year. In the physics department specifically, it's pretty split from professors to also the classes that I'm in of female to male identifying students in them. And especially in all of our STEMs classes, it's pretty evenly distributed for gender as well. Business, I believe the statistics for students there is 60% male identifying students are business majors and 40% are female identifying as well. But you'll see different splits and no more than a plus or minus 10% across the board at Skidmore.
I'd love to answer two questions about education that I got. Just really quick. I have found that Skidmore has given me more opportunities in being a teacher than I honestly ever expected it to. I thought that what I would get out of Skidmore, wanting to be a teacher was the educational piece, like learning what teaching is and how to like teach children math. But beyond that, I've also learned so much. I got to do a 2-week teaching fellowship completely paid for by the education department in Boston over winter break last year. When I say completely paid for, I include housing, transportation, food, and it was an amazing experience. I was in a dual language school, and it really changed my perspective on teaching. It's given me an opportunity to both do internship last spring, and that included traveling to a bunch of different types of schools. So I understand what different schools there are, and now, of course, student teaching. And I've also been able to host and participate in multiple events, including learning about the teachers union, which is something that you might not expect to get from your schooling experience. And getting to already start thinking about grad school if that's something I'm going to do, as well as I did research in the education department as well. And I know there are many other students who do that. I helped one of my professors write research, edit, and format her book that she just wrote about literacy, thinking about disability and diversity together. And that book is coming out soon. I will see it. I will see my name in it. And I'm very excited about that. Not something I expected out of my college career. Another opportunity to answer the other question about art and education. Oh, I'm frozen. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
the art and education, I was able to do an internship where I illustrated a graduate student's at Bank Street College's book that she was writing about disability. This happened last week. I'm so sorry. Um,
Don't worry about it. We can still hear you. It's great.
Okay. And so I've been able to bring my love of education and art together. A lot of my art projects in my art classes, I've been able to talk about education. My final for my last class was like a self-portrait of myself as a teacher, and it was a lot more impactful than I expected it to be than just drawing a picture of myself in front of a classroom. Um, yeah, that's all. Sorry about my camera, guys.
Completely fine.
Um, I'm seeing a lot of questions about sort of into majors, like applying into a specific major itself. So I'm going to try to answer all these at once. You apply to Skidmore. You don't apply to a specific major and or we don't really have any inter sort of colleges here at Skidmore. So you apply to Skidmore, you show your general interest, but that doesn't really reflect onto your application of your admission to the college. Once you're in, you actually don't declare your major until the middle of your sophomore spring, so halfway through the second year at Skidmore. But in that time, it really gives you a lot of opportunities to explore classes, take some intro classes, see where you want to go, talk to professors, talk to students, talk to alumni, and really help you in the process that when you do make the decision to declare a major, you're really confident in it. And also for minors as well, you don't have to declare those until the end of really your senior year, as well.
I saw someone ask about homecoming and a couple other things. As chair of traditions, I'm part of our entertainment committee on campus. My position deals with like traditional events. We do not have homecoming is the short answer. One of the reasons is we actually don't have a football team, which I believe homecoming is a football tradition. Kind of similar-ish. So I do the dances, those typical dances, what you think of homecoming and whatnot. This year for it's called Junior Ring. We're changing the name. That's to be determined. So for now it's just ... But the theme you guys get to know before the other students on campus is Casino Royale. James Bond theme. It's held at a hotel off campus. We provide transportation, there's catering, there's a DJ, photo booths. We're trying to get some like poker tables. So that's a really fun event. We also typically have like a spring dance. There's lots of events that are kind of similar to what you'd expect from a high school event, but they're upgraded. They're college level now. So we have like the big green screen, which is our probably one of our biggest athletic events. It's I think the basketball team's last not competition game. You can tell I don't attend many sports events. But it's their last game before I think they move on to nationals or not. And so everyone really comes out on campus and it's fun and great. I also wanted to, someone asked about the program for finding roommates the first year. At Skidmore, you do not, unless it's changing, but you do not get to choose your first year roommate. So you fill out a little survey, a questionnaire about, do you go to bed early? Do you wake up late? My best advice is to be honest. Don't fill it out in front of other people. Go find a private space where you can just be honest and think to yourself, like, really, what are my habits? Not what do you want them to be, but what are they? And it's matched up through that. There's also special housing, which I also really encourage you to look at. My first year, I wanted to live in substance free, which is all of campus is substance free, but living in substance free means that you can't like bring anyone intoxicated or under the influence, and you can't be under the influence. And typically the facilities people are nicer to us because we're the cleanest dorm. But there's other great ones like an international floor, an all women's floor, and I can talk more about that because she's in res life. But be careful when you're looking through the housing application because there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and be honest. You don't want to show up and be like, well, I thought I'd wake up at 7 a.m., but I'm really waking up at 10. So yeah.
I just want to add something onto that. I saw a question about Greek life too. We actually do have a homecoming this Saturday from the Alumni Association. This is something that we're truly trying to promote from SGA side. I'm on student government, which is sort of like the partner organization to Student Entertainment Committee with Faith. But sort of segueing into this is someone asked about Greek life. Skidmore actually does not have Greek life. And you may ask, what is the social scene like without a Greek life here? And I would say we do just as fine and maybe even better without having Greek life here at Skidmore. We are very vibrant and connected community with over 100 clubs that sort of go through our Student Government Association and also the Student Entertainment Committee, faith side of things. We have so many events happening each week, from student-based performances, artists coming onto campus, craft events. There's always like a craft event going on with the Arts Club. Physics Club is doing a movie night soon and a rocket launch, really various large scale, small scale community building events. Also cultural and religious clubs too. Hillel does weekly Shabbats every Friday and it's free food for people, pretty good food. So that's always a nice experience for me and also other students that may want to learn about the religion. And yeah, that's really it. Also downtown too, Saratoga downtown has really great activities during the day, coffee shops, bookstores, a beautiful park, the Adirondacks, Lake George, Albany, really a lot of things to do.
I wanted to plug, he mentioned we have off-campus artists that come on and we have a big show. It's called Big Show. And it's when we can get a semi-famous singer or musician on campus. And this year it's Natasha Bedingfield. You know her songs probably, you might not know her name. And Toa Bird is her opener, who's dating Renee Rapp and is opening for Billie Eilish right after she performs for us. So if you're interested in music, that's a big part of Skidmore life. You don't have to be a music major or minor to participate. Yeah.
One thing too I want to add about the roommate process and selection. I was actually, so I'm the vice president for student life through student government, more of the advocacy side of things, which is really cool leadership opportunities. I think Faith was hinting at it before that from any sort of starting your sophomore, even first year, you can get involved in club leadership or even student government leadership, which really teaches you skills of how to be a leader in our community and get some cool opportunities. Like I get to meet with the dean of students every other week, which is really cool. But I actually got to work on with a group of other students improving this roommate survey and how to better improve it to make sure that roommate selection really works out. And usually year by year, the roommate survey holds true and selects some pretty good roommates for people.
Can answer the question about homeschool applicants, and we see a lot of different kind of non-traditional paths. So not everybody goes to a public school or private school and has been in that school for 4 years, et cetera. You know, COVID has done a lot of different things, and we are very good about reading different paths. If you're homeschooled, your homeschool accreditation is very solid, and what we will look at is not only students who are academically very solid, but also what you're doing outside of your homeschool. So how you're involved in the community and how you're involved in, you know, different things outside of your classroom. So I think it's important that if you are homeschooled, we do require SATs or ACTs, and that is something that is different. Just because there's a lot of different platforms for homeschooling, and we just want to make sure that your preparedness is on par. Does your college essay have a big impact on acceptance? So it matters, sure, but it matters just as much as everything else does. So I have read thousands of them in my 20 years here. I can remember one essay that maybe say maybe this student isn't ready for college life. And I'll just be frank. They started out with a swear word, and I think it was done for shock factor, but it really had no place in a college essay. And I'm sure that person found a great home someplace else, but that's kind of not our style here. We are much more about hearing about you, your lived experiences, what has developed in these past few years for you. We're not looking for the perfect student to walk in the door. We're looking for community members who are willing to get involved and to be a part of kind of the larger picture. So it has an impact, but again, it's a real collaboration between your involvement, your demonstrated interest, your academic strengths. But great question. Thanks for asking it.
I saw one on internships specifically for English. I'm not an English major, but I can speak a little bit on internships. We have an office here called the CDC, which is not for diseases, but the Career Development Center. And they're really amazing with setting up programs to inform students about how to start looking for internships, how to best prepare yourself, but also working departmentally with different departments on different events. Specifically, English department may put on a couple events with professors, alumni, etc. But they're amazing office to go for a one-on-one meeting, 30 minutes to an hour. I've gone to ask, what is LinkedIn? I don't have a resume, let me create a resume. And also sort of streams to be looking for these internships locally, alumni networks, or sort of in your hometown area. They're going to really work with you to find ways to get these internships. Also, the CDC is available for you anytime after Skidmore, after you graduate, as long as you want to stay in communication with Skidmore, I guess they're here to help. I don't remember fully the statistic. I may need help from Faith or Anna, but I think it's 2/3 of students will do at least one internship while at Skidmore. And then I think another 60% will do 2 internships at least at their time at Skidmore. So.
And to add to that, I mean, the CDC is great. I've been going to them. The area I would like to find a job in, applications start now, so I'm applying right along with you guys. So I've been with the CDC every single week saying, like, does this resume look good? How do I tailor it for this? And they're great. They give you a lot of free stuff too. I have this very fancy like leather portfolio thing. But also specifically for English, I don't know, one of my really good friends is an English major, and I haven't heard of any professor research that's happening right now in the English department. but that's always every department. My dance professors do research. I'm just not familiar with what's happening in English right now, but there's also a lot of great internships Skidmore can connect you to that look for English skills. So my good friend actually has been interning with a local, I think she's a real estate agent, but she wanted to start a podcast. So my friend used her skills she learned in class to help with that podcast. She's also a tour guide. So there's lots of great things, and both the CDC and your professors can be a great help with that.
Great.
There's also a lot of questions about music. I think we've been trying to tackle them one by one. There's a lot of music opportunities on campus. There are classes that you can take, like jazz band counts for credit, concert band counts for credit. There's also a lot of non-classes that are like student-led. There's lots of bands. There's actually a big event called Battle of the Bands where they compete to perform at Skidmania. So yeah, there's also lots of, I think there's some choir. There's a lot of clubs that are non-audition based, some are audition based, lots of a cappella. It's gonna look different from Pitch Perfect though. I pitched, ironically, having one of those sing-offs they did in Pitch Perfect, and all of the clubs were like, that's harder than it looks. And then we also have the Saratoga Performing Arts Center nearby, and they have a lot of big artists. I saw Pitbull this year, which was crazy, so fun. It was actually my first concert ever. And so they have a wide range of artists they bring in, but something interesting about that is you can internship with them. I think some classes work with them, which we graduate there, which is super exciting. And that's a great opportunity for students. I don't know if Milo or Anna or Sarah want to talk more about music.
I don't have so much. Are you specifically talking about clubs too, or just general programs? Sorry, I was typing an answer away.
Some people are asking about music opportunities for non-majors. Do you want to mention the scholarship maybe?
Yeah, so I will say something about clubs. We have over, I think, around 15 sort of musical audition clubs students can apply for, from bands to a cappellas to performing arts. At the start of the year, we have something called the Club Showcase, which I had the honor to MC with a fellow student government friend of mine, which was really fun to see all these clubs come together and do amazing performances. But also is the Finally Music Scholarship. This is a scholarship, one of two. We also have the Porter Wackenheim Math and Science Scholarship, which you apply for as you're applying into Skidmore. With the Finally Music Scholarship, it's more for students in classical music. As you apply, you'll go through an interview process, and then the finalists will come actually onto campus to perform. If you do get the scholarship, it is $20,000 a year for all 4 years, so $80,000 total. I think it goes around to 4 to 6 students. The Porter Wackenheim Math and Science Scholarship, similarly, you will apply sort of as you're applying into Skidmore. It's looking more for students did I freeze? Who are into research or the math area. And if you get into that program through applying, it is again $20,000 a year, all 4 years, $80,000 total. I think it's a little more like 12 to 15. But the two big things about both these scholarships is you don't actually have to major in the arts or the sciences to get them. You just have to show some general interest there your time at Skidmore and applying into Skidmore. Um, I
Good.
did.
Okay. Are you doing the pre-med track question,
I
Milo?
was going to answer that real quick, if that's fine.
Fire
Um,
away. Yep.
we have something called HPAC, Health Professionals Advisory Committee. So if a student sort of in any major really, but usually students in biochem or health and human physiological sciences who are interested in a pre-med track, you sort of talked about it, will apply for HPAC advisor. So HPAC advisor is the second advisor that will advise you on the classes and sort of steps to take to go towards the pre-med path, whether it's dental, vet, or medicine. And something interesting though is the national average for accepted students into a pre-med program after undergrad is around 42%, and Skidmore's average is 84% acceptance rate. So it's really cool.
I also want to add to that, and Sarah can totally correct me if this is wrong. it at least used to be right. If you're doing the PT track, the physical therapy, I believe there is automatic acceptance into a nearby PT school. It's like St. Rose or something.
Not St. Rose anymore. It used to be with a local one, and I am going to fall on my sword and say I'm not sure which one it is, but the acceptance rates to physical therapy schools, pre-med schools, are in the high 70s. So I'm not sure. St. Rose is one of those schools that didn't make it through COVID, so we had to kind of re-alternate. We had to realign that partnership, but there are other great partnerships with those programs.
We also have on-campus EMS called SCEMS, which is a student sort of emergency medical services where you can actually be trained to become an EMS, which is really great also if you're interested in that pre-med track for training. I did see one other question too about collaborating with the Saratoga community. Something I will say is Saratoga community is pretty at the heart of the Skidmore community. You'll see local Saratogians coming to our events in Zankel, our musical performances. The Tang Teaching Museum, which is our art museum on campus, seeing close to 70,000 visitors per year, to local products like the Saratoga chip or chocolate bars or the Oh Boy on campus as well. But also for different academic departments, like Anna's working with the local school district. The business department has a program where they actually consult with local businesses to try to help and improve them. To the physics club right now, actually trying to do an event with a local middle school as well. It's really cool ways of collaborating with the off campus or having people come onto campus because the main heart of Saratoga is like a 20-minute walk, 5-minute drive, 10-minute bike ride from campus.
We've got about 4 minutes left before we wrap up. I do want to answer the question about portfolios. So because you're not applying as a certain major, you are not required to do a portfolio. You are more than welcome to send something in, a link in the additional information section. But because admission is not based on a portfolio, you do not need to send one in. I believe there is going to be an option, or there's an option on the member page of the Common App that says that you can send something in. Totally up to you, but I want you to know that don't go out and build a portfolio from scratch or make something special for that. And I say that sincerely, like you don't need to do more work if it's not going to if it's not going to influence the admission piece. But on the other side of it, it does show us kind of your broad interest level. So I hope that answers a little bit, and quite honestly, about portfolios.
Someone asked about the wide variety of classes offered, and I just wanted to mention that we have a lot of requirements. It seems like there's like a lot of general requirements. Then on top of that, you have your major requirements. And something you kind of get them done without realizing, especially if you're a double major, especially if you have a minor. And I never found it overwhelming, maybe in the moment. I tended to overload my schedule just because I like to stay really busy. But I've never found it overwhelming. I found it more interesting, and everything like leads together. Like in a dance class, I'll talk about a math class or like a culture class I'm taking. Like I've heard a lot about religion studies from Anna and some other friends, and like that's something I kind of am interested in taking next semester. I believe there was a statistic before I applied that was like over 50% of students don't know what they're doing when they go into college, what they want to major in. And I think that's great. And I think Skidmore, with how many requirements we have, really forces you to, even if you think you know what you want to do, look and say like, maybe I do like science, or maybe I don't like science anymore. I actually really am interested in world studies or language or English and all these different things. And so I don't think it's overwhelming. I think it's actually really encouraging for you to grow as a student.
We are going to go ahead and wrap up because we know that your time is very valuable as well. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope that a lot of you are confirmed that you're going to apply early decision, or maybe that this was helpful in weighing those decisions for you. We really like the fact that you've tuned in. There are virtual options also on Thursday nights that if you want to find out more, AMAs as well as information sessions. And am totally excited that we answered 64 questions and hopefully was very helpful for all of you. So Milo, Faith, and Anna, thanks a lot for your time, and everybody have a great night, and we'll see you at Skidmore. Bye-bye.